Network. I am absolutely honored to be here today with Keira Lani and Sharon Carne. We are doing the Triune Blessings from Nature to Humanity, and today we are receiving blessings from the trees. Can't wait to watch this one roll out. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. As we talked about the last couple of weeks, we have been presenting blessings from the mountains and blessings from the waterways. This series will culminate with a session during Unity Week. It'll be held June 24th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Enlightened World Network. The title of the series finale is Become a Beacon of Light, Crystalline Grid, Tree, Mountain, and Waterway Blessing. All of you are invited to participate and represent the waterways, mountains, and trees from your place on the globe, or any trees, mountains, and waterways that you hold particularly dear. So we will be sending out a Zoom link for that event. You all will be invited to join us in the Zoom room and hold space from wherever you are on the planet. So let's open our sacred circle today with just feeling into the energy of love. We're going to call on Spirit, asking the Creator to feel our wishes, our words, our prayers as we go into this circle time. Let's take a deep breath in and see that white light coming directly from Source. See yourself gathered here with all that are present and all who will be present, listening to it afterwards. One of the great creations are the archangels. There are helpers here on planet Earth, and as we gather together today to honor the trees, we're going to call in the angels from the four directions. Calling in first from the east with the element of air, Archangel Raphael. Raphael is our healing angel. And we're asking Archangel Raphael to bless each of us here that are gathered in the circle, as well as blessing the trees that we're here to honor and revere. Going to the south, we're asking Archangel Michael to join us. Michael comes in with the energy of fire, helping us to release anything that's not serving us. We can release it into the trees. The trees take whatever we give them, sending it down into the roots, sending it into the heart of Gaia, which transmutes all that into a positive energy. From the west, we call in Archangel Gabriel, invoking the beautiful energy of clarity. Gabriel comes with the element of water, and we thank you, Archangel Gabriel, for helping us to understand the importance of underground water for the trees as we go through this circle time today. Lastly, from the north, we call in Archangel Uriel, coming to us with the element of earth, grounding us, balancing, centering us so that we can do this work in a safe way, knowing that we are surrounded totally by source energy. With all the angels, we call in any other of the angelic realm that want to be here with us. We feel those 500,000 earth angels that just came in and gathered with us. From above, let's give honor to Archangel Metatron and ask Metatron to bring in the crystalline grid right from Source. And from below, Archangel Sandalphon, bringing up the crystalline grid from the earth. We invite in Divine Mother and the Christ consciousness. We give thanks and gratitude to our Creator for overseeing this whole circle time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth, for that beautiful blessing. I really felt all of the energies of the collective gathering together during that prayer. both the angels that you called in and the earth angels that are called to our work here to help them activate their gifts into the collective. So thank you all for being here, whether you're coming in from the angelic realms, whether you're tuning in live on Facebook or YouTube, or dropping in for the recording later. I'm so grateful for your presence. And when we began to enter into this offering, and what is this? When Sharon and Ruth and I first gathered in conversation around this offering, we thought that we were just going to lay down blessings for the planet. And it came through really strongly that the mountains, the water, and the trees want to bless you and are asking you to really open and receive the blessings that are always there for you each and every time you go outside and look at the sky and take a deeper breath. Each time you walk in the woods and you feel the presence of these amazing trees around you and recognize that the balance of your life is dependent on balancing the life of all creation. Each time you take a drink of water or a shower or stand in the rain, each time you go to a mountaintop to connect more strongly to the heavenly energies. And the trees to get today are so present, gathering in our circle. It's as if we were gathering in a circle of trees. So I invite you, as we really connect with the tree energy today, to recognize how the trees are always there, ready to share their wisdom with you. They are always there, ready to share the breath. Each and every time that you take a breath, you are breathing in the out breath of a tree. And each time you exhale, you are giving that breath of life back to the trees. And so as we drop in here together and share our personal tree stories, I invite you to really connect your breath to that feeling of breathing with a tree, fully receiving the blessing and offering it back.
Thank you, Keira. Thank you. So, we want to share some personal stories, connections that we have with the trees. And Sharon, I would love it if you would start.
Oh my goodness, there are so many stories, Ruth. But the one that felt like it wanted to come forward today was a series of ceremonies that was a strong soul urge for me about 20 years ago. Previous to that, I had been learning how to work with the nature spirits in our gardens around our home and the devas of the property, and working as well as I could learn to work co creatively with nature here. And so the first of these 6 ceremonies, it turned out to be 5 or 6, was to be on Cape Cod. My husband was attending a convention there, and I understood that this was a ceremony that had to do with serving the oceans and sending healing energy into the oceans. And so, a spiritual community I was part of at the time agreed to put their feet in whatever water they had around them. And so we had set a time and a date for when we would be together with our feet in the water to bless the water. And so 20 years ago, as I'm learning how to connect with the way the earth communicates, I went into my own roots and I asked a beautiful poplar tree in our backyard and 2 of our apple trees to connect with the trees in Boston, so that, and in Cape Cod, so that they would be able to support this ceremony. And when we arrived in Boston, we were there a couple of days before we went to Cape Cod. And as we walked down the streets, I was greeted by these grandmother oak trees and a beautiful grandfather maple tree saying, "Welcome. We heard your message." And I was blown away at how big this communication network is.
That is so cool, Sharon. And I didn't realize until probably 10 years ago the energy that trees could put off. I always knew I was the kid that couldn't go break a limb off break a twig off a tree. It just felt wrong to me. And I didn't really realize, though, um, in our town, in our city, they were wanting to enlarge the parking lot of the building that I work in. They wanted to just make that, it was a 1 lane road, they wanted to make it a 2 lane road, which meant they needed to tear out this line of beautiful 50-year-old oak trees. And always I would pull into the parking lot and face the trees. And when they prepared to take them down, I felt such sadness for this whole beautiful line of oaks going away. And the day before they cut them down, the feeling at the workplace, and not from the people, mind you, because I felt it out in the parking lot, was palpable. And it was sadness and sorrow. And I wasn't really knowing that I was feeling energy yet. It was early in my spiritual walk, but I just carried it inside and I didn't know what it was. And then the next day, when they were cutting down the trees, the feeling in the parking lot was like someone was being murdered. It was angry and full of it was just violent anger and not understanding. And I went into my office and I said to somebody, "Oh, man, I just feel like somebody's being murdered." And they said, "Yeah, that's coming from the trees." And I didn't realize that before, that trees had that energy and that understanding. It was a life changer for me.
Wow. I love hearing your stories and recognizing how important the trees are as we're entering into our spiritual journeys. I really would love to invite all of you out there to share if you have any stories of trees being an entryway into your spiritual journey. I also had an early experience where a tree brought me into a greater awareness. I was always connected to trees. The forests were my sanctuary growing up. And I always talked to them, but I never expected them to talk to me. And my mother has a walk she takes almost every day where at the end of the walk, she visits a tree that she named Grandpa Cedar. So when I was a young mother and I moved back to the land I grew up on, I used to take this walk with her sometimes. And then one day, she was in Hawaii and I decided to go for this walk by myself. And when I came to Grandpa Cedar, it felt like he was pulling me in and didn't want to let me go. I felt the energy from my belly go into the trunk of this tree and all the way up to the tippy top of the branches. And it felt as if he were saying to me, "Where is that lady who visits me every day? I miss her." And so I visualized my mother sitting on a beach in Hawaii. And in my mind, I said, "Grandpa Cedar, please look out for my mom over there across the ocean." And then I gently withdrew my energy, saying, "Don't worry, we'll stay connected." And I went back to my little cabin in the woods where my little baby boys were. And at the time, I had a very strong early morning meditation practice. So the next day, when I sat in meditation, I thought, I wonder if I'm really still connected to Grandpa Cedar, even when I'm not touching him. And I sent my awareness back to that tree. And it was as if Grandpa Cedar took me on a journey. I found myself floating in an electrical web of light. It was like a fiber optic network of tree communication encircling the entire globe. I didn't know what to think, but it was so powerful I had to tell my mom. So later that day, I called her and I told her this story. And she said, "Wow, I was wondering why Grandpa Cedar came to me when I was sitting on the beach yesterday." So years later, I discovered a book called Mycelium Running by Paul Stamets. And this book is all about the brain of the forest and how the mushroom roots connect the roots of the trees in a network of shared nutrients and communication. And when I saw the picture in this book of the electron micrograph of the mycelial network, I was just floored because this picture looks exactly like the image that Grandpa Cedar showed me in that meditation. And so I have since then connected with many, many trees over the course of my travels and learned that this is a very important part of my work. A tree was my first Qigong teacher. And in my connection with the trees around the planet through Grandpa Cedar and other trees that I encounter, through similar to Sharon, sometimes I will be with a tree that I've never met and I will connect to Grandpa Cedar and they'll say, "Oh yeah, we know each other. That's why we called you in here." And the trees have shown me how their work here on the planet is to heal the consciousness field, is to reweave the consciousness in places of mass deforestation. And they have called in assistance from the humans, especially in places where the trees are few and far between and they're not physically connected. They need our help in this process. And so I'm inviting all of you to connect with your trees when you're not in their physical presence, as well as when you are in the forest receiving that physical connection that is so needed in our physical human health. Whenever you are flying on an airplane, inside of a building, bring your awareness back to a tree that you have made a connection with. Every time you do this, you are not only nurturing your spirit and creating a sacred space for you to be grounded and healing in a challenging time, you are also assisting the Wisdom Council in healing the frayed parts of the consciousness field.
Keira, can you take a minute and talk to us about the Tree Council?
Sure. Um, so, as I expressed in my experience with Grandpa Cedar, there is a network of tree communication around the globe. When I first learned of the mycelial network, I was like, oh, that's what Grandpa Cedar was showing me. And it is. And there is also a network of consciousness that is in the ethers, that is all around us all the time. And this is also where, in my work with trees, I have learned that the trees are always connecting in this way. And this is how a tree that is in Oregon can connect with one in Australia. This network actually does span the entire globe. And so it's very strong and tight in the places where the trees are in their family units. In the forest, when you go into the forest and they're physically connecting through their roots and their leaf tips are gently tickling each other, it's very, very strong. And it's also in those spaces in between. And so the Tree Wisdom Council are the representatives of all of these family groups that then unify them through the unified consciousness field that is scientifically called the quantum field. But it's so interesting when we do this work with consciousness. If you talk to scientists, they will say, actually, we don't understand this. But the trees do. The trees do understand how the consciousness field interacts. And they will, if you allow yourself to slow down and listen, they will share it with you. They will show you where your place is to assist with this unification. And they will bring through wisdom that is uniquely for you, as well as wisdom that is for the entire collective. And so this has become a big part of my work. And one of the shows that I'm bringing through on a weekly basis for EWN One with the Earth is all about bringing through different aspects of this wisdom council where I encounter them, whether it's with the fairy magic, with the trees here connecting with the ones in Australia, with a particular tree that wants to step forward and share her wisdom. These are always present, and there really has been a big clarion call through my work to get more people aware of this, because the more people who are connecting directly to this tree council, the council of trees, the more easily we will be embodying our true mission here on the planet as spiritual beings coming into physical form. And there's just so much here. So I hope that gave you a little sense of what it is without going too far out of our context.
Thank you. Thank you. Sharon?
Oh my goodness, Kira, I so resonate with what you're saying in the tree councils and the mycelial network that I have also been exploring in my own way, and this super highway communication network that we are a part of and yet not really conscious of. I know in my own personal journey in the last little while, I have been bringing my roots down into the soil. This room I'm in is about 3 feet into the basement and the other part up. So I feel the roots of the trees. And not long ago, my special apple trees in the backyard, I could, as I felt the bottom of my feet, I could feel them tingling. And then as they tingled, I felt the apple trees come up into my body and into my heart and saying, it's time for you to join our network. And it's exactly what you're saying. It is time. The trees are inviting us to join this super highway of communication with all of plant life. Some of the scientific studies I found too are showing it's not just the trees that are part of this. It's all plant life. So even the blades of grass are connected with this beautiful mycelial network. And we are too. We just forget that we are. Haven't really created the awareness. And like you're saying, Kira, it's time for us. So part of our intention today, too, is to help everyone who's listening to create this connection, your personal connection to this special nature's internet, you might say, that we already connect with, not only with the connection in the air and in the ethers around us, especially we connect with our roots. So I'm so excited for those people who are listening and for those who watch the recording. We invite you to put up images of your favorite plant or your favorite tree, especially in the chat below. We would love to share the energy, and the trees would love to share the energy of this collective connection that we're growing into.
Sharon, do you want to share some about the background of trees?
Oh gosh, so much of it has already been shared here too, Ruth, with the breathing in and the breathing out, which is an important part of our our life on this planet. If we did not have the oxygen breathed out from the trees, we would have less oxygen in our air and we would not survive as well or not survive at all. The trees are absolutely essential. This symbiotic relationship, our carbon dioxide that we breathe out every time we breathe in the oxygen from the trees, the carbon dioxide is a chemical that is essential for the tree's life. So we cannot exist separately from trees. They are an important part of our actual physical life here, as we are as an important part of their actual physical life here. And part of our conversations is about, and part of Kira's work that is so precious, is about being record keepers. Trees, many trees grow for generations of a human's life. And so, as part of this mycelial network, the elder trees hold on to this bank of knowledge like the mountains do to help all of us together to because we are all connected together. We're not just human beings living on a planet. We are human beings as part of an entire community of life. And sometimes we tend to forget that. And as we connect with the networks, then we learn how we can be with each other in the highest vibration and in the highest relationship with everything.
Thank you. We had been asked to share the significance of trees from the Bible. Now, trees are mentioned in the Bible more than any living thing other than God and people. There's a tree on the first page of Genesis, the first Psalm, the first page of the New Testament, and the last page of Revelation. Whether it is the fall, the flood, or the overthrow of the Pharaoh, every major event in the Bible has a tree marking the spot. Jesus said he's the true vine and that his Father is the dresser of the garden. The Bible refers to itself as the tree of life. We are told to be like trees planted by streams of water that yield their fruit in season. Trees are the oldest living things on earth. There are trees alive today that were already ancient in the time of Christ. In fact, God gives trees a ring to mark every birthday. The oldest tree is estimated to be around 9,558 years old. That's actually a tree. It was the age of the tree was discovered by carbon dating, and it's the old Tijko trees, Tijkko trees, that are mostly found in the Fullafillet Mountains of Dalarna, Sweden. So almost 10,000 years old. Moreover, every major character in the Bible appears in conjunction with a tree. Noah received the olive branch to signify that the great flood was over. Moses stood barefoot in front of the burning bush. Zacchaeus climbed the sycamore tree so he could see Jesus above the crowd, and he was acknowledged for doing that. The disciples gathered on the Mount of Olives, and the Apostle Paul asserted that if we have gone for a walk in the woods, we are without excuse for knowing God. And what about Jesus? So many ways that he could have been killed. Folks tried to stab him, tried to stone him, tried to throw him off a cliff, but none of those worked. He could go 40 days without eating, climb into the ring with the toughest opponent on the planet, and walk away. There was no point in trying to drown him. He would just walk away. No, the only thing that could kill Jesus was a tree. The Romans had many ways to kill people, but Jesus was killed on the cross, a tree stripped of roots and branches. So why did God choose to have Jesus executed on a tree? Trees, like Jesus, give rather than take. Trees give and they keep giving. They give life and beauty. They give shade and rest. They clean the air. They hold back erosion. They offer shelter, food, and protection. The worst possible thing to use a tree for is to kill someone. And a crucifix is a picture of how low humanity can sink and how far God will go to rescue us. Keira would like to share another Bible verse. Oh, Keira, you're muted.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. As you were sharing, I was reminded of a gift that came through this wisdom of Jesus on the cross when he says, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." And this is truly the essence of the trees. Every time I have connected with a tree around, like your story, where the oaks were taken down and they feel so sad, there's never any blame. And so the essence of this teaching is that true forgiveness is a return to innocence. It's not an it's okay that you did something wrong. It's actually there is no blame there. And I really want to invite you all into this awareness. And how can we really embody a tree? This verse from the Torah came to me during a Jewish celebration called the New Year of the Tree. And this is all about recognizing the gifts that trees bring into our life and the gift of recognizing our connection to the trees and how each and every cycle and season we can embody along with the trees the opportunity to let go of what is no longer serving in the fall, to allow the new growth of the spring, to be flexible so that we can bend and not break in the storm, to put, instead of looking at our loss as something to blame or shame, allowing the grief to bring our energy back into our roots of connection. And so, with this verse in mind, a person is like a tree, Devarim 2019. I invite you into a moment of prayer. And the Jewish people would say to open your hands like palm leaves to receive the blessing. So I invite you to really open to receive the blessing of the infinite above as you connect into the roots. And speak your prayers as gratitude for all of the abundance that is already there, just waiting for you to open to receive it. Mother, Father, God, Creator, Source, spirits of the four directions, the earth and the heaven, the ancestors, thank you for this life. Thank you for my family and loved ones. Thank you for the nourishment that springs forth from the earth. Thank you for the air that I breathe. Thank you for the sun, the moon, the stars, and the rain. Thank you for the abundance and prosperity that are flowing into my life. Thank you for showing me the path forward that I may walk in beauty and dedication. Thank you for allowing me to be a vessel of the divinity flowing through into all of the work that I do here in the world. Thank you for sustaining me on my mission. Thank you for rippling this blessing out to touch all who I touch, and by proxy, all who they touch, until this blessing ripples around the entire planet, touching all life. Thank you for all of the myriad forms that life is expressed through on this planet. Thank you for always being with me, within, without, and all around. May I always remember to be in the gratitude, the love, the forgiveness, bringing harmony and peace through my vessel to touch those around me. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this life. Amen. Aho, and so it is.
Breathing into this beautiful gratitude in your heart. Thank you, Keira, for such a gorgeous prayer. Feeling this connection to all of life. Breathe into your heart again. Becoming the tree that we're so connected with. The bottoms of your feet are tingling from the trees are right there inviting you to connect with them. So imagine these beautiful roots growing out from the bottom of your feet, spreading out into the soil, into this mycelial network of light. Feel those tiny fibers in your root connect. Open your ears and hear the voices that are so ready to connect with you. As Keira and I play the bowls, keep your ears open to listen through your feet, through this network, for a message that is there for you today, and for the blessings that come into your body from the trees.
As we played the bowls today, it felt as if the trees were playing music through me. And I'm hearing a clarion call from the trees to all of you. If you have been hiding because your gifts seem too unaccepted by society, if you have fear of judgment, self-doubt, if you have felt lost or alone on your journey, the trees are calling you forth into your power. Please, please, please speak your truth. Stand in your strength. If you ever feel alone, connect with your roots. We are here. We have got your back, and we see you as you truly are. Will you allow yourself to be seen as the leader of light that you came to this planet to be? Please, 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 the trees are imploring you to allow that deep wisdom to bubble forth, to spill out of your heart and touch those around you. Even if this just means to be a leader in your family, in your community, or a leader of yourself. The trees are here to hold you in your power, to give you the strength to weather the storm, to give you the flexibility to stretch into the greatness that you came here to express through this vessel of humanity into the world. Thank you so much for being willing to take the mantle of your glory. The trees say thank you 1,000 times from all directions. It's a chorus of love from the trees. So just take a moment to breathe in this beautiful love that the trees have for you as I share a poem that I call To Love a Tree. To love a tree. Tree love is quiet, love reaching deep. Tree love is expansive, love spreading wide. Tree love will hold you, love energy flowing. To be held by a tree in love, lean in and soften your heart. Open and quiet your mind. Release expectations. Be as the tree, reaching deep. Be as the tree, spreading wide. Open your heart and feel love energy flowing. To hold yourself in love, lean in and soften your heart. Open and quiet your mind. Release expectations. Open your heart and feel love energy flowing. Breathe into the love. Nurture it to grow. Grow into you. Be the tree.
Keira, thank you so much. Sharon, thank you. So beautiful today. And Keira, that is the second time today that message of putting yourself out into the world, not being afraid, and not lowering your standards so everybody around you is comfortable. Really stepping into your greatness. Second time today, that message came through. So thank you to you for hearing it as the trees shared that with you. So we're going to close now. Thank you all for being with us today. May the words that were spoken, the sounds that were shared, the images and everything that was brought forth today, that was brought forth from Spirit with the pure agenda of just sharing love, honor, and respect for the trees on our earth plane. I'd like to close the circle by asking Sharon and Keira here to speak one word or one sentence that represents what you felt from the blessing that we received today. And I'd like to begin. For me, the word was expansiveness. My vision of trees and my understanding of trees was so limited before I got to hear your fabulous stories and understandings today. So thank you for broadening my experiences to that. So Sharon, do you want to go next?
Thank you. How beautiful, Ruth. And for me, it's connection, and you are never alone.
Mm. Yes, that's so beautiful. The way it came through for me is infinite vibration of connection and feeling the roots of your being.
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies. We would also invite anyone hearing this broadcast to share in the comments what you received from this time together with us in the circle, and to just really remember what you received here today, the blessing that was given. I'd like to thank the angels who surrounded us, and we'll go in reverse order to close the circle. Archangel Uriel, thank you so much for grounding us, balancing, centering us as we do our sacred work. Archangel Gabriel, thank you for the clarity. Thank you for honoring water right along the side of us today. Archangel Michael, our great protector, our guardian. You're the one who's always there. Thank you for being very present today. And Archangel Raphael, thank you for the healing power of coming together in circle and for holding the sacred space right along the side of us. To all the other angels and the masters that were present, Divine Mother, Christ consciousness, and our Creator God, we honor and bless you and thank you for this time together. So thank you so much, Sharon and Keira, my dear sisters. Such an honor to be here with you today. So much love to you both. And to our friends here at Enlightened World Network, thank you for being here. Please join us on June 24th for the Triune Blessing here with Unity Week. We'll be sending out more information about that as time goes on. So much love to you all. Take good care, and God bless.